My God, look at that! A boot still holding a piece of history, and the gold is just sitting there. The pressure here is immense, and I can feel the hull vibrating under my touch. It's like the ship is still breathing. These plates, they were meant for the first-class dining saloon. It's haunting how they just stayed here. I need to be careful not to kick up too much silt, or I'll be blind in seconds. Look at the light hitting those diamonds. Whew, it's like they were lost yesterday. This is incredible. This hallway leads toward the engine room. Every step feels like walking through a graveyard. The pressure is holding these bottles together. If I brought them up, they'd probably shatter. It's so empty here. You can almost hear the music or the screams. The silence is deafening.
I found someone. They're part of the ship now. The iron has literally fused with the bone.
Gold and pearls, the wealth of the Gilded Age, now just trash at the bottom of the sea.
God, those things are huge. They're like they're scavengers eating whatever is left after all this time. It's a reminder that this isn't just a wreck, it's a grave. I have to respect that. The boilers, they're still standing. Imagine the heat and the noise that used to be in here. This car was a legend of the Titanic. Now it's just a pile of scrap metal and memories.
I wonder who this was for. A gift? A business venture? It'll never reach its destination now.
The dining saloon, where the wealthiest people in the world once sat. Now it's a garden for deep-sea coral. It's like modern art created by a tragedy. The pressure literally welded these together. The music stopped a long time ago. Now there's only the sound of the water.
Entering the first-class sleeping quarters now. This is where the real stories are hidden.
The owner of Macy's, he and his wife stayed together until the end.
It's moments like this that make the dive worth it. It's not about the gold, it's about the connection to the people.
A safe, and it's full of jewels. These must have been from the ship's purser.
This ship has enough thieves. I'm here to document, not to loot. This is the key that called for help. It's the last thing the world heard from the Titanic. Oh my! There's someone still here! The operator. He never left his post. That scared the hell out of me, but it's a grim reminder of the duty those men felt.
Captain Smith's bathtub. It's one of the few things people recognize from the photos. It's surreal to see it in person. Edward John Smith, this was his. Everything here is so personal. The orders were given right here, hard a starboard. But it was too late. The ship was already doomed.
Standing here, you can almost feel the wind on your face, even though we're thousands of feet down.
A child's doll, it's heartbreaking. You find these little pieces of life in the middle of all this destruction.
The bronze lamp is incredible, still intact after all this time. Panning the light inside now, a tea party that never ended. It's like time just stopped in this room. I shouldn't have touched it. It was too fragile. Some things aren't meant to be held anymore. This is worth a fortune, but here, it's just a piece of glass in the dark. The clock. It was the heart of the staircase. Now it's just lying in the mud. She was beautiful. Lether Otzi. Someone was waiting for her in New York. The Davits, they're still here, waiting for lifeboats that will never return. This whistle, it was used to call for the last lifeboats. It's a haunting piece of history.
My heart is pounding. And that thing is at least 15 feet long.
spectacles. She must have been wearing these when the ship went down. It's a miracle they didn't shatter. This was the entrance to the most luxurious rooms on the ship. Even now, the bronze work is stunning.
Stock certificates. Someone was carrying a forger in their hand when they tried to escape.
It never gets easier, seeing the heart of the ship like this. It's so empty, yet so full of ghosts. The exact moment the end began. It's chilling to hold this. The plates, there must be thousands of them. It was the last meal for so many people. This was for the first-class passengers. Only the best for the Titanic.
There's more to see. The heart of the service areas.
The stern is so much more dangerous than the bow. Everything is ready to collapse at any moment.
A doctor is Kit. Imagine the scenes this saw on that final night.
That eel was huge and territorial. I need to get out of here.
The mailroom. All these letters, never delivered. And the watches, frozen at the very end.
This is beautiful, but wait, what's that?
He stayed with the mail, even as the room flooded. That's incredible devotion.
The boilers, the power that drove the ship, now just rusting relics at the bottom of the world.
The firemen, they worked in here until the very end, trying to keep the lights on for everyone else.
There's more to see. The cargo that was meant for New York.
A wine cellar. Enough champagne here for 1,000 parties that never happened. Still sealed, the pressure down here is holding it together perfectly. That eel was huge, and it didn't like me touching the wine.
The Turkish bath. Even now, you can see how beautiful it must have been. The tiles are perfect.
Original soap. It's amazing what survives in the deep. It's like a time capsule of cleanliness.
The base of the staircase, it's a graveyard of elegance. Everything here was once so beautiful. The people who once walked these stairs, they're all gone now. but their things remain.
The captain's safe. Imagine the wealth that was stored in here for the voyage. Still pointing north, and it's the only thing in this ship that still knows where it's going.
The music room. The band played here until the very end, trying to keep everyone calm.
One of the musicians, they were the true heroes of that night.
The cargo crane. Imagine the thousands of tons of freight it moved for this voyage. More tools. They look like they could still work today. The grease really saved them.
My God, it's one of them. Fully dressed. The jacket, the bow tie, and the book, it's still there.
He was dressed for dinner. He never made it to the lifeboats. Two minutes before the end, he was checking the time as the ship was failing. The silver collection. Thousands of pieces that were used for the last dinners on the Titanic. Modern art created by disaster. The pressure down here is unbelievable.
The iron gates, they were supposed to keep people apart, but in the end, they were just another piece of junk.
They never had a chance. The gates were locked until it was too late.
The clock. It was the heart of the grand staircase. Now it's just a piece of bronze in the mud.
The cargo crane. Imagine the thousands of tons of freight it moved for this voyage.
More tools. They look like they could still work today. The grease really saved them.
Wait, hold on. Zoom in closer. My God, it's articulated. He's wearing a dinner jacket and a bow tie.
He was dressed for dinner. He never made it to the lifeboats.
2 minutes before the end, he was checking the time as the ship was failing.
The silver collection. Thousands of pieces that were used for the last dinners on the Titanic. Modern art created by disaster. The pressure down here is unbelievable. The iron gates, they were supposed to keep people apart, but in the end, they were just another piece of junk.
They never had a chance. The gates were locked. The gates were locked until it was too late.
The clock. It was the heart of the grand staircase. Now it's just a piece of bronze in the mud.
The sheer size of these engines is terrifying. You can feel the weight of the ocean pressing in on everything.
Thomas never made it out. This watch was probably his most prized possession. Even in the darkest corner of this ship, there are reminders of the men who kept the lights burning.
A wedding band in a coal bunker. The stories this ship could tell if the walls could speak.
This was the heart of the ship's service. All these plates were meant for the last breakfast.
The keys to the larder. Silt-choked. Someone was probably reaching for these when the water hit. Incredible. Stacks of gold bars, diamonds, and watches. Oh god, there's a skull in there.
Someone died trying to protect this, or trying to get it out. A king's ransom, sitting in the mud for over 100 years. The music of the Titanic, frozen in a graveyard of iron and ivory.
The people who entertained the passengers as the ship went down. Heroes in their own right.
The ship's hospital. So many people passed through here in the final hours.
A pen that likely wrote the last words of a passenger. The audio is dominated by the deep, resonant hiss and heavy.
The wealth of the Titanic, spread out like a macabre banquet.
Modern art created by disaster. The pressure down here is unbelievable.
The lost library of the Titanic. Thousands of stories that will never be read.
A pen that likely marked the pages of this book as a passenger read in their cabin.
The timekeepers of the Titanic, all frozen at the moment the end began.
Modern art created by disaster. The pressure down here is unbelievable.
The clothes of the Titanic. A ghostly reminder of the people who once wore them.
A queen's ransom, sitting in the mud for over 100 years.
A piece of jewelry that likely belonged to one of the wealthiest women in the world.
The eyes of the Titanic, frozen in the dark for over 100 years. The music of the Titanic, silenced in the dark of the Atlantic.
The elegance of the first-class dining saloons spread out on the seafloor. Modern art created by disaster. The pressure down here is unbelievable.
The lost words of the Titanic, a typewriter that likely wrote the final messages of the voyage. A pen that likely saw the last sunset on the Titanic.
The daily routines of the first-class passengers, frozen in the dark of the Atlantic.
The 5 o'clock tea on the Titanic spread out on the seafloor for over 100 years. The transcription is not needed based on the provided context.
Wait, what is that? Oh my god, it's a skeleton! Look at the whistle! We found one, this changes everything!
An officer who likely stayed at his post until the ship broke apart.
2 minutes before the end, he was checking the time as the ship was failing.
The wealth of the Titanic, spread out on the seafloor for over 100 years.
Modern art created by disaster. The pressure down here is unbelievable.
The boilers, the power that once drove the ship, now just rusting relics at the bottom of the world.